Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. In this video, we're going to talk about my first 12 gauge. It is a New England Firearms, or NEF, Pardner 3-inch chamber SB1. Now, yeah, my first 12 gauge, I've had this for 11 years. We'll go over the backstory on it and everything, but this gun right here has been shot more than any other gun in our collection. Snooze and drink combo of the day is Caliber plus Stark. It's a strong snooze. And Sparkling Ice Starburst Orange. Zero sugar. This is actually pretty good. It legit tastes like an orange Starburst. But yeah, going off the serial number, this gun was made in 1997. We have shot this gun so much that if you guys know anything about H&Rs, the single shots, which this is, they are probably one of the most durable guns on the planet. Well, we've shot it so much that I've had to replace the trigger twice, the hammer once, the the hammer spring twice, and what else? There was something, the firing pin did break on me before too. So this gun has all kinds of replaced parts, and some of those replaced parts have also been replaced. So this gun has seen some heavy usage, and it still locks up tight just like the day it was made. After literally thousands of rounds, you would expect a single shot to have the hinge pin wear out on you, become loose, which makes the barrel loose, what is called off the face, but this one has not done that yet. If I forgot to mention it, this gun does have a modified choke. It measures .700 at the muzzle, .700. And like a lot of NEFs do, it has the weird shaped forend. I actually don't really like this that much. It's not very comfortable, and to me it is kind of ugly. I much prefer the regular style forend. I don't know why a lot of the NEFs were like that. And from what I've read, H&R went through a period where they were called New England Firearms, and then in the late 90s, I think it was actually 96 through 2003, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been years since I've read this, New England Firearms were H&Rs that were made overseas. So if that is the case, this was likely made in China. I'm not sure. But as you see, Pardner Model SB1 12 gauge 3-inch mod, and it has been proof tested. Having a look at the other side of the gun, well, you can see where we have beat on the pin so much that the side of the receiver has, well, it has some craters in it. Now, I know you're supposed to use blocks to knock the pins out, but guys, we didn't care. This gun was an absolute workhorse for us. It has taken many squirrels and game birds, but still, yeah, that is kind of ugly, and yes, I'm ashamed of it, but I'm also kind of proud of it, just being honest. So, you can see right here on the receiver, there is a pretty sizable wear mark, and that is because that is where our hand lays whenever we shoulder the gun to shoot it. It has actually wore the finish off. And this did used to have a color case hardened finish, but when I got the gun, it had a little bit of rust on it, so I tried to take some steel wool. And I didn't know at the time, but there are multiple different varieties of steel wool. I got the stuff you use to scrub pots with. And that took the finish off the gun, so I just re-blued it black. And it does look okay. It's a lot darker in person than it's coming across on camera, but it is black, aside from right there. And that is, again, where our fingers lay whenever we're shooting the gun. You can see also on the stock, the finish has gone there because, again, this gun has a lot of handling wear. If we look at the other side of the gun, you'll notice a bare spot of finish right here. And that is where, at least my middle finger lays, the tip of my middle finger lays right there, and it has rubbed a lot of the finish off. There is a chip in it, not sure how that happened, but it happened. Overall, the stock is not in very good condition. No cracks or nothing like that, but a lot of finish wear, a lot of dings, nicks, scratches. Right there's a bad one. That's just missing finish. Right there is actually a light gouge. Looking at the top of the stock, well, we have flamed walnut. you hardly ever see flamed walnut, but that's what it is. If you're into the guitar world, well, flamed maple is a very, very desirable thing to have. This stock has flamed walnut. If any of you guys noticed this, well, we did that. By the way, that's 1/2 inch of leather, actual leather. Me and Josh did that like 3 or 4 years ago. He is 6'2", and I have long arms, so, well, back then this was one of the only 12 gauges we had, so it was a little bit short for us, like a lot of single shots are. So we added another 1/2 inch to the length of pull, and it's a lot more comfortable to shoot now. And yes, it does look kind of ugly. We didn't really bother fitting it too well, although there was some attempt. Right here you can see it's not really fitted that well, but we did try to color match it the best we could. I think we did an okay job for just a, I don't know, a 30-minute undertaking. The forend, just like the buttstock, has seen a lot better days. You'll notice a lot of nicks and dings, a lot of missing finish, especially right here where our hands lay. Yeah, it's in pretty rough shape. The screw, we have taken this gun apart so many times that the screw has, you know, been kind of wallered out, and that would be because we're using poor fitting screwdrivers to do it. I picked this gun up last year and noticed the muzzle had quite a bit of rust, and that is because we shot some black powder through it, and apparently I didn't clean the muzzle area well enough, and it had green and white and whatever color just build up around the muzzle. So I did sand that off, and it had some pretty bad pitting, so I did take a file and just, you know, work around there a little bit. I still have to blue it, but once I re-blue it, it'll look fine. Won't ever be able to tell that happened. And yeah, the muzzle does need a little bit of file work. It's a little bit chewed up. Sight bead is still there. Doesn't look too bad, I suppose. If I had to guess, I'd say we have put maybe 3,000 rounds through this gun in the 11 years that I've owned it. Me, Josh, and his brother Joey, we used to, back in 2016 through, I don't know, 2018, about every weekend we go to Josh's house and just burn up all the 12 gauge we can get our hands on. Didn't matter what it was. If it said 2 3/4 inch or 3 inch, it got fed through this gun. Having a look at the chamber area, you can see it is pretty worn, a little bit of rust on it. I'll clean this gun up pretty good after I'm done filming, but if we look at the breech face, what we can see of it, it's pretty nasty too. Let me get this gun apart. If we look down the barrel, you'll notice we haven't cleaned it in forever, so there is quite a bit of lead buildup. And yeah, there is a little bit of pitting in here, but we have put so much black powder and Pyrex through this, it's not even funny. It really needs to be cleaned up, and how I'll do that is I'll attach some Quadot steel wool with plenty of oil to a drill on a cleaning rod and spin it for, I don't know, 20-30 minutes. It should look almost like new again, but as it is right now, I mean, it's disgusting. Surprisingly, we've never needed to replace the ejector spring or the ejector pin. And like I was saying, we've never replaced that ejector spring, but I will say it is kind of weak. It doesn't, you know, it kicks the hulls out, but not very hard. They don't get stuck in the chamber though, so it's definitely getting time to replace that spring. And as I was saying, the breech face is quite disgusting. Yeah, I'll definitely clean this gun up after I'm done filming. Don't worry. So we started reloading for 16 gauge, followed by 12 about a month or maybe 2 later. And whenever we started loading for 12, both of us got bit by Magnum-itis pretty hard. We were coming up with the hottest loads imaginable. I'll publish data, of course. But yeah, just the hottest stuff we could find, and we were feeding them to this gun as often as we possibly could. And Josh managed to find a load. I will not say where it came from, but it was published data from a very reputable source. It was, I don't know if I should give you the date or not. Okay, don't load this one. It was a 2 3/4 inch Remington STS with a Winchester primer, 33 grains of green dot, a Claybuster CB 1138 wad, and 1 3/8 ounces of shot. Now, if you know anything about green dot powder, you know it is not a 1 3/8 ounce powder. With 1.25 ounces, the highest charge I've ever seen is 23.5 grains, if I remember right. So 33 grains and a 1 3/8 ounce load? No. Josh fired one. It kicked so hard it about knocked him over. And of course, we were shooting just lighter stuff before that. Oh, not light, but not really heavy either. So he wasn't really expecting it. It about knocked him over, which I have on video. I might include that here if I can find it. And it broke the gun open. Like the barrel latch came loose and it opened the barrel up, kicked the shell out. No, it didn't kick the shell out. The shell got stuck and we had to beat it out. But we quickly learned that not all published load data is good data. So we started reading more and more into, load data and all that stuff, and figured out what it's good and what's not, what are acceptable powder charges. We quickly learned that obviously 33 grains of green dot was not an acceptable charge for a 1 3/8 ounce load. Green dot is not even suitable for 1 3/8 ounces, let alone 33 grains of it. But it's just part of the learning curve. So I got this gun 11 years ago. It was the first gun I had ever bought with my own money, sort of. When I graduated high school, my papaw handed me $200 and said, "This is your graduation present." So I went to a pawn shop here in town. They had this shotgun. They wanted $90 for it. They had a guitar, which you can see in the background over here. They wanted $135 for it. Anyway, I talked them down to $110 because it needed a little bit of work, which wasn't no issue. So I walked out of that pawn shop with this gun and that guitar for $200. And that was back in 2013. I was 18 years old. Like I said, this was my first gun I ever bought with my own money, sort of. And I got a pretty cool guitar too. To talk about the guitar for just a moment, some of you guys might be offended by this, but honestly, I'm proud of it. But as you can see, it is beat to heck and back. Me and Joey, Josh's brother, we played this thing, and Josh, for a lot of years, and it has seen some rather advanced mistreatment, let's call it that. But it has some rather vulgar language on it in places. The frets are kind of rusty. It doesn't really get played a lot anymore, but this was, in a way, a gift from my papaw. It does mean a lot to me. My papaw is no longer around, sadly, but he did raise us, me and one of my brothers anyway, like we were his own children. So this guitar is quite special to me, and all that wear and abuse and tear on it, well, that's just part of its story too. I forgot to say what it even was. It's a Jackson JS32 Rhodes. Rhodes being the shape, it's sort of an offset V. If you know anything about music, it's a Randy Rhodes shape. But this is a really cheap one. This is the back of the guitar. I'll show you the rest in a second, but me and Joey did that. That is our blood that's in there. I don't know why we did that, but we did. Overall, this thing is in absolutely horrible shape. It's missing paint right there, but still, I love this guitar. I guess it's pretty obvious I do need to take my old stuff and clean it up and show it some love. This thing's also missing a string. There was a reason I didn't show the end of the headstock, and now you know. But back to the gun, like I was saying, this thing has been shot way more than any other gun in our collection, second only to the 835. That one's probably not too far behind. But this is one of my favorite guns in the collection. It is a totally nothing special H&R partner. The only thing that makes it special is my papaw kind of got it for me. But I think that's going to end this one here, guys. If you can think of any other of our guns that you want to see us do up close and personal video on, just let us know. We do have quite a few guns that we can make a decent story out of. But we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.